Yo, what up? It's your man, DJ Caveman, DJ Iron Monkey in the building. Episode motherfucking 71, All Day Physique in the building today. We're also talking about the book club. Kindred was our book. We're going to get into that a little later. But first, our guest is in the building today, Aaron Day.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Is it Aaron or is it Aaron?
Either one works for me. I'm so used to not hearing that every freaking day. So,
for those of you who don't know, All Day Physique is a gym. It's a lifestyle. My man here, he's a yoga instructor or a yogi. He's a bodybuilder.
All the above.
He's a fitness model. What do they call it? He's
physique competitor.
A physique competitor. I call him a fitness model.
Oh, okay.
He'd be on the stage in the board shorts with all the baby oil on. He's also I call him the creator of ass cheeks. If you need ass cheeks, ladies, and you don't have none, fellas, if you need some ass too, you know what I'm saying? There's some dudes I'm sure need some ass.
Everyone.
If you want to have a fatter ass, this is the guy that you need to call. If you don't want to do the surgery, you call up my man Aaron, and he'll put you through the paces. If you want to power lift, he can put you through the paces for the powerlifting too.
Yep. He's
got some powerlift competitors that do the damn thing. So with that, I'd like to welcome Mr. Aaron Day, Mr. All Day Physique in the building.
Thank you so much.
Yes, indeed.
That was quite the introduction. Thanks, Sarah.
Well, you know,
it's fitting he got a hoodie that says Beast on it too.
Right?
I didn't plan that or anything.
I'm just. He was like, "What am I gonna wear today? Yeah, let me take out the beast mode shit."
Yeah.
So what's good, man? Tell us how did you get started in the fitness? Like, where does your fitness journey begin?
Well, it all started about probably 7 or 8 years ago when I had brain surgery. So, kind of wrong place, wrong time. Got jumped by some people in the wrong area and was forced in the hospital, brain surgery, bed rest for months. It was probably the most depressing part of my life. You know, I was debating what the hell am I going to do with my future. Didn't want to go back to college, really. Didn't know what I wanted to do. And that's when it kind of I was only focused focus on my health. So I started just spending my quality time to go to the gym and researching and eating healthier, and eventually moved actually to Los Angeles. And when I moved to Los Angeles, that's when I started getting into yoga. You know, everyone there's all into fitness. And,
that's kind of like the thing out there, right? The
crazy.
yoga, and everybody's super fit.
Crazy, the hippie lifestyle out there. Yeah,
wheatgrass all day.
It's just Venice Beach and Santa Monica Beach and just all these healthy restaurants. So living there for a little while really opened up my eyes to kind of see the potential in the health industry business, just because they're so important to people there. And my mindset was, well, I can take the same exact concept back home in Rhode Island. So moved back here, got my yoga certification, got my training certification, started working at different gyms, marketing myself. And before I knew it, I'm like, I just got to do my own thing. So eventually opened my own gym, kept competing in bodybuilding shows, and it just took off. So it's been very, very grateful for how successful it's been thus far.
Nice.
What's the biggest difference for you as like from going from like a yoga instructor to like a total kind of fitness thing? Like, I know yoga is important for like flexibility, but you don't see a lot of yoga instructors that look like He-Man dolls.
Right. I think that's what made me, truthfully, so unique and so successful at the beginning, was because I started with the yoga, incorporated the weight training. Everyone's like, wow, this guy's different. I like his lifestyle. And, what I've learned throughout the years is that you will have yourself at less chance of an injury and actually will potentially be able to get bigger and stronger by having good range of motion. And so they actually work hand in hand really well. So I think a lot of people would benefit by trying to incorporate both.
Yeah, I'm surprised a lot of people haven't done that more recently, because even before, like, recently I started working out again, and I realized my body gets tight.
Tight and stiff,
and stiff, and I can't take pills like other people can. So that's what stops me from working out, is because I don't want to have that tightness.
Aches are just so bad.
And then it's like, I can't smoke weed all the time.
Just to ache the pain, right? Yeah.
And then I'm taking Epsom salt baths, and I get jokes from Daryl about
it's about that bath life.
Yeah, I'm about that bath life. Yo,
about that bath life.
Hell yeah, with my rubber ducky and the whole nine. But I'm surprised that people don't incorporate stretching and actual working out more, because, like you said, it cuts down on your chances of injury, and it cuts down on your soreness, and then it gives you more room for growth.
Absolutely. Since I've started teaching, I definitely say it's up and coming, where people are starting to kind of see the benefits of it, and a lot of pro athletes are kind of taking advantage of, like, ballet and yoga and Pilates, things like that. And I think in the upcoming years we'll continue to see the popularity of it grow, and people will see the benefits more.
Yeah, it's kind of like how Akeem Olajuwon, when he first started playing basketball, his footwork was totally different from other basketball players because he played soccer. and it's mixing the two combinations that have an ultimate result. So mixing the yoga and bodybuilding is like
same concept.
It's kind of like that Akeem Olajuwon kind of move in this whole industry.
Fills in the gaps, of your weak spots. Yep, exactly. Yep.
But I'm not gonna lie, I just started taking yoga. My girl's like really into it, and it really helps. It really helps. I suck at it. Yeah. She's like, she went to yoga this morning. She's like, I'm going to yoga. I was like, all right, bye. But at first I was like, man, I can't. Like, I didn't want to be the dude in yoga. Like, my biggest fear about going to yoga is falling down trying to do something in yoga. You know what I mean? Like,
it's not busting a fart?
Nah, not even. That's more about
downward dog.
That's more about the massage. You don't want to fart in your massage. Okay. But when you're doing yoga, I mean, it's expected, right? You're doing a lot of breathing. You might let something out, but I just didn't want to be on one of those one leg poses.
Just don't eat the beef and
broccoli and just fall over and hurt myself.
You know what I'll say, and I think this is true. When people go to especially classes like yoga, they're so focused on themselves. Whether you fall over or not, they're not even worried about it, right? Because they're so focused on what's going on in their own mat. So don't let that bother you.
I don't. I've been going. I'm getting better.
So wait, with yoga, do you have like certain things that people should do before getting into yoga, like? Even before going to class, like I would probably, if I was a yoga instructor, be like, yo, don't eat no beef and broccoli before coming to my class. Like, that's not going to be the scene because I can't light that much incense.
Everyone's, right. No. I mean, obviously, that's dependent on the individual. Your digestive system, I guess. But, I wouldn't go to a buffet and then come take a class out.
Damn, I suffer from IBS, man. Like, come on, understand my struggles.
And I got, a couple, some gas passes every class here and there, but it doesn't happen as often as you guys may think.
But do you be burning the patchouli in the background?
I mean, we got air pressures going up the whole time.
Okay, all right. So you're well prepared for it. We're good. All right, cool.
So you're doing the yoga thing, and you open up your own studio, or you're training at this point, right? Yep. So, talk to us about the bodybuilding shows.
Sure.
Like, it's like almost like a secret society, I feel.
Fair enough,
you see all these guys.
Oh, like a fight club type shit?
Yeah, like you see all these women and you see all these guys and they're in the gyms and they're working out and then they're getting stronger and they're getting bigger and then they're like, I have a show in a month.
Right.
And then they like get really small.
Pretty much, yeah.
And you're like, yo, how did you lose like 35 pounds in 3 weeks? And they're like, can't tell you. And I'm like, really? Like, you got this, how, first, I know it's got to be terrible on your body because none of those people look happy.
It's awful, yeah. If you were to try and, let's just say the last few weeks of a bodybuilding show, even the day of the bodybuilding show, if you were to try to maintain that body fat level that you're at, that weight that you're at year long, that would be severely unhealthy because you're trying to get down to such an unhealthy body fat to look crazy, freaky, lean, shredded on stage that it's not maintainable, and it's an unrealistic look, but that's what you're trying to go for at that show level. So, it's... you're pounding the cardio, you're crushing the weights, your diet is just terrible. It's
like nothing, right?
Not a fun lifestyle. Yeah, no, it's not. It's torture.
You can't even really have any water, right? Because you're trying to dehydrate yourself.
You have to dehydrate yourself sometimes 24 hours prior to that show and the day of the show. So that's actually probably the worst part about it all is how thirsty you are the day of the competition.
I heard what's his name there? Damn, I can't remember his name. I saw it in a documentary where he does 2 shots of vodka before every show.
Ronnie Coleman or
not Coleman.
Kevin Levrone.
Man, I can't remember his name. I think it was the Ronnie Coleman documentary.
Okay, it was one of the bodybuilders.
Yeah. They do 2 shots of vodka.
Ronnie, well, they use it to dehydrate themselves, dry out a little bit more. And when you're dry and there's no water in between the skin and the muscle, all the veins pop and you just look even crazier. So
why not do grain alcohol? That shit would dry you out.
No, I don't know. He just said vodka. I don't know. Probably because they went to a bar, right? So.
I'm not taking shots of grain alcohol.
Is that the hardest part, or is it?
The dehydration right before the show is probably the most torturous for that day or so. But I mean, the dieting for the 14, 16 weeks is what sucks because you want to go and have cookies or ice cream and you can't. I mean, you just can't because you got to lose your pound or 2 every single week on that basis. So the nutrition definitely is pretty shitty. And it gets worse and worse as you get closer to the show.
How many shows have you done?
5 shows so far. Yeah.
Okay. So are you considered like a pro bodybuilder?
I haven't competed at a pro level yet, so I wouldn't go that far. But
you're not ranked yet?
Not ranked yet, no, because I focus so much on running the business and opening up that up. So bodybuilding's kind of been like a second option to me. The business and my clientele has always been first. So I'm sure if I would have swapped the two, I could pursue it a little bit more and be more successful in it. But just not my main priority.
Right.
Yeah, because when he's talking about like the nutrition of it all, homegirl that was on the show a couple of episodes ago, Millie from Sage
Melissa?
Nutrition.
Yep.
Sage Nutrition.
Oh, yeah,
She's
yeah.
more of
Melissa
a
Wills.
Yeah, she's awesome. Yeah,
she's more of a power lifter than a.
She's strong. Yeah.
Does she do shows? Do you know?
No, she just does. She
She
does
does
like the
the power
powerlifting
lifting.
events.
She
Yeah.
gets pretty strong. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so you know about her then?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I think we're friends on Instagram. Yeah.
Ah, cool.
Miss Fit Sage Nutrition.
Yep.
I think
Yep,
is it?
Sage
Yeah,
Nutrition.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, she's cool.
Yeah,
Yep.
she's a beast for such a small
Oh,
person.
for sure.
She's only
Oh, my
like
goodness.
5'2".
She's strong. Yep.
I watched her squat like 205 the other day.
No
I was
big
like,
deal. Yeah.
Yeah, for real.
Word,
She
that's
seems
what's up.
like real
Yeah.
small, but
Yeah.
it's like
Just dense muscle and just strong. Yeah.
proof that you don't have to be. You don't get really big.
yeah.
Like a lot of women,
no,
like,
yeah.
and that's probably got to be one of the bigger myths for women. I know we work with a lot of women.
Yep.
So how do you get them beyond that point?
crazy,
like,
yeah.
to buy in,
Right.
to not be like
The
super.
first thing they always
diesel.
say is, "Oh, I don't want to get big," and it's like, you can lift all the weights in the world. It doesn't really work like that, unless you're eating just a ton of calories and taking, certain
Crazy.
substances to help you. I mean,
Right.
You're not gonna look at that.
We'll stick with the creatine.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. We'll go with the protein powder.
Yeah.
BCAAs. So
Whey
it's,
protein.
so it's a hard selling point. And I think that I'm pretty good with getting people results in a fast matter of time. So once they kind of see the results after the first month or so, after they're training really heavy and hard, they're like, oh. I actually look better. I'm looking more toned. I'm not looking bigger and bulky. So
Yeah.
Right.
And see, and that's the thing with me too. I don't want to get bulky because I'm short, and I don't want to be the Mighty
fair.
Mouse.
You want to
Sure.
look like a box.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I don't want
Wide
to.
and
Yeah, I don't want to be the Mighty Mouse kind of guy.
Right.
Just big and heavy
Yeah.
up top and
I
just
gotcha.
small
No
little legs.
right,
like
yep.
you got no legs, you just
Yeah.
got feet and toes. Like the fuck?
You get big like that, I'm buying you a little red cape.
Nah, don't do that.
You already
please.
know.
Nah.
I'll support that.
Nah.
What's been like your biggest challenge as what's been your biggest challenge? It's a two-part question.
Yeah.
Your biggest challenge opening your own gym, and also like your biggest challenge from a client perspective.
Sure.
Like, have you had anybody just come in and you're just like, yo, there's no fucking way.
Few of those, yeah. Few of those, yeah.
Damn, Butterbean. I gotta make Butterbean look like.
You said you want abs how fast?
You'd be
6 months.
You'd be surprised how many people, come in. They're like, I got this, trip, this vacation in 4 weeks. I'm like, well, you should have came to me 4 months ago. Not 4 weeks before. So that sometimes is a struggle. Is people wanting unrealistic results, obviously, on a short-term basis. But then you get just some people, and it's not the majority by any means, but just are absolutely terrible to work with. And they're just, negative the whole time, and just I dread it sometimes. And you got to do it. But there's some people I've had in the past that's just like, why are you wasting my time? Why am I wasting your time? So.
No, but see, like
You ever had to kick anybody out of the gym?
Oh boy!
Like, yo, you fuck. Like,
There was one time actually. Yeah.
we were working out for 6 months and you still look the same.
Yeah, it was
like,
bad. Yeah, it was
yo,
bad. Yeah.
motherfucker, you got a box of Twinkies in your back pocket. Like, the fuck you
What are
doing?
you doing?
Here?
What are you doing?
you ever call one of your clients like fucking
Well,
with the snacks?
You can tell.
Or you go
when
out
they're
and
lying,
you
yeah.
catch them at like
I've seen it.
at like the wing spot. Like they're like, oh shit,
Yo,
like they're like the Haitian dude.
yeah, that's what I was
Smack
gonna
on the
say.
head,
Yeah.
the big girl walks around.
Walk
Smacks
inside
it,
be like Tyrone with people with their
Tyrone.
cigarettes. Like, yo,
Smack
you
their
smoking
hand.
that cigarette? Yo, eating that chicken wing? The fuck you doing? Like, yo,
Especially, is there a gym like near a bunch of fast food?
Oh yeah, there's a Chinese restaurant in the plaza. So
Ah.
there's a bar in the plaza. So I haven't seen any of my clients go there yet.
Coming out of the bar, they probably look for your car.
I know.
I gotta have another drink.
they're going around through the back entrance,
See it, yeah, right.
giving the code word, chocolate chips.
They get all
Opening the door.
They get all the Chinese
day
food
is
delivered. I'm gonna be working out
All
for
day's gone.
I'm gonna be working out for an hour. Just put it in the car while I'm working out.
Yep.
Just have that.
Market biohazard so nobody touches it.
But you can always tell, when I ask someone, have you been eating, and they just straight up lie. They're like, oh yeah, I've been on point, but the numbers aren't moving and something's going on. So.
I see that beef teriyaki in your back teeth there, B. Like, who you lying
Something
to?
ain't adding up.
Yeah. Come on, man. Like, yeah.
What can people do? It's springtime. So it's the time when people decide they want to get in shape, right? They want to get in shape at the first of the year, but that lasts a few weeks, and
Sure,
then.
right. Dies
But
out,
now
right.
it's starting to get warm,
It's spring again.
and now people are like, I gotta get in shape for the beach.
Summer 2020. Yep.
I gotta be cool at the patties and
look
on the
good. Yeah.
beach.
Oh, yeah, of course.
At the beach parties.
Oh, this is going to be the
You know,
summer of me.
I finally gotta get my shit together. I've
my
been
year.
bullshitting.
Yeah.
So like, what advice do you have for other than eat right and shit?
Right.
What can the average person do
The layman.
to just kind of get started? Like,
Yeah, sure.
I know there's no like magic
Right,
pill or
but I
anything,
mean,
but like
a couple things are, in terms of training, the compound movements give the most bang for your buck. So your squats, your bench press, your deadlift, your pull-ups, your chin-ups are modified if you can't do them. Stick to those exercises instead of like the bicep curls and the tricep extensions. So number one, compound lifts, you get the most bang for your buck. Number two is consistency. So, if you say you're going to go 4 times a week, go 4 times a week. Don't, skip out 1 week and do 3 or 2, or just try to have that set schedule and that set routine.
It's rainy today. I'm not going to work out.
Right.
Today it's raining.
You got to just fuck the excuses. I mean, and the second thing is don't wait on it. You have, we're at March 1st, coming up. Now's the time to get started. Don't wait until, May and then, it's time for that summer body.
No, it's still Black History Month. It's still Black History Month right now. It's still Black History Month.
every month is a new excuse.
Always.
Oh, it's Women's History Month. Next month I can't work out. It's Women's History Month.
No, I can't do this to the women. Get extra sexy. No, I can't do that.
Doing a disservice to them.
Yeah. I can't show off the goods.
I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to have abs for this wedding, so I'm on it.
Get rolling.
My workout is great. I work out. Right?
Yeah,
I'm
killing it. Yep.
I'm getting in there like 5-6 days a week.
Beautiful.
But I eat like a dumpster.
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Right.
Today's been pretty good. And it's, for me, my biggest struggle is late.
Late night food.
Late night, because I work. I'm up basically like 16 hours a day.
Yeah.
Like I get up at like 7 and I'm awake until 3 in the morning.
Right.
So it's like
later in the days when you want to.
Later in the day is where like I have my biggest issue with food. Like I get up, I have my shake, or I have some fruit, and I work out, and I feel good. So I'm not trying to fuck my workout.
Right.
So I eat good, and then I go to work, and I'm like, fuck, I forgot to bring my lunch. It's in the fucking fridge. Now it's like I'm at the club, and they're like, oh, we have steak and cheese sandwiches, and I'm like,
well, I got no
but I'm
food,
like,
so.
I can't not eat for
Of course, right.
8 hours. So I'm like, I gotta have something. So I try to have it early, and I'm like, all right, I ate early, and I can push it.
Have some trail mix.
And
dude.
then I didn't bring it with me. That's the problem. And I'm
Keep it
like,
in
well,
the car,
damn,
huh?
there's nothing in the back but fucking big jars of candy,
Of course, all the crap.
and bread and shit to keep girls from getting too drunk and shit like that. So I'm like, fuck. Or
gotcha.
I don't eat because I'm like, fuck that. I'm not going to eat anything. And then at 1:30,
you're super hungry when you get out.
fucking
Right.
starving.
For sure. And, you'll eat
And I'm
anything.
like,
right.
ugh.
Whatever's in sight.
I go home. If I don't stop, so I'm like, fuck that. I'm not going to Wendy's.
right.
Fuck these nuggets.
Yep.
And then I get
jitters.
home
Whatever's in the cabinets.
and I eat like 4 sandwiches.
Right. For sure.
And I'm
for
like,
sure.
fuck.
Yep.
What did I just do? I had to fuck my whole day. Now I had to take 2 Ducalax
Just push it all out.
just to
Man, we're back to baseline.
take that, and then I get on the scale and it's like, same weight. But then I see people and they're like, oh, you look like you're slimming down, and I'm like,
Right.
nah.
Yeah.
That's what I like. How do we?
Thank you.
How do you get
Glad
to
you
that
noticed.
point where you stop fighting the Groundhog Day? Basically, like I lose 3 pounds, I gain it back every
Yo-yo
weekend.
diet, kind of cycling up and down, right? Yeah. Well, I think one of the things you said that stuck out to me is just preparation, right? So, like you said, having those appropriate snacks at work, right? Having the right snacks in your cabinet, so it's convenient for you to get the trail mix or yogurt or another protein shake later in the day. So it's easy. You don't have to think about it. And obviously, prepping the meals too ahead of time so you have that as well. Other things, if you find your hunger is so, it's like just going crazy later in the day, could be hydration. So sometimes when we're really hungry, we're actually thirsty, we're dehydrated. So chugging out a little bit more water later in the day could actually subside that hunger a little bit to help you out. And then get an idea of what foods you're exactly craving. Is it salt? Is it sweet? And then find those healthier alternatives. So like there's 0-calorie Jell-O, if it's something sweet, or the trail mix if you want something salty. So just trying to find those alternatives, just staying prepared is usually a good go-to.
See, one thing that I noticed is that, and what you've talked about as well, it's more of a lifestyle thing.
Definitely. You have to,
And see, one thing that I've known from people that I grew up with, Rastafarians, they just don't smoke weed and have dreads. They're
No?
no, it's more than that.
Tell me.
Come on, tell us.
No,
'cause
but their diet.
I'm pretty sure it's all just weed and dreads.
Their ITIL diet. They were basically the first vegans that I've known,
Interesting.
because based on the way that they eat their food, it's very plant based, and they don't eat fish. They don't, and the way that
didn't
it's
know that.
prepared, it can't. They don't prepare it if they can avoid it. They don't do it in a metal pot. So
wow.
they're very particular. So it's more of a lifestyle thing. So rather than being like, I'm just going to work out, it's like, this is the lifestyle that I have. I remember back in the day when, you was hitting it hard, B, Daryl, you used to have liquor in your car. Like now you should have like beef jerky
Something
or
about-
like trail mix in the car.
When I had liquor in the car all the time.
Yeah.
I don't believe that was ever a time in my
Can we
life.
say that?
Yo.
Nah, listen, nah.
Nah, you had
Like,
that
real
shit
talk.
underneath the car seat
Real
and
talk.
shit.
My drinking was
Yo, he was hitting it
my
hard.
drinking was at an expert level.
Woo.
I was
And I know you.
I was the super boss at the end. When it like it was bad.
Oh boy.
But that's what I'm saying.
was
Is
bad.
You've
like,
come a long way then.
Yeah.
like he probably had it in the glove compartment, you know, underneath the seat. Like,
There was not a period of time when I didn't have a bottle.
Wow.
but that's what I'm saying. You should have the trail mix as that thing. You
Sure.
know,
Here's the
You
thing
have
though,
beef
like
jerky.
I graze a lot, so if I have it,
Mm.
I'll just eat that shit all day. Like I won't.
If you have a tub, that tub is gone.
Yeah, like I'm not. Like I'm now learning like the moderation.
I see,
Like
yeah.
you know what I mean. But you know how hard it is to eat 13 almonds, or what is a serving size of almonds? I think it's like 18 or 19
One
almonds.
thing you could do, spend whatever on Sunday whenever you get a free half hour, just put each serving in like a plastic baggie, and then you have your baggie for each day instead of just the whole trail mix bag, because no one's gonna stop at what a serving.
Well,
is.
even that, like I'm the guy who would like bring a lunch, eat his whole lunch,
Yep.
and then be like, "Damn, I need
For
lunch."
breakfast. Eat
Yeah,
your lunch
like-
for breakfast.
right,
So
Yeah.
That's just right,
I'm
yep.
now learning like, all right, dude, you don't have to eat your whole
Right, like the whole
like.
thing. Right.
I'll eat all my meal plan before
12 o'clock.
before 12 o'clock. You know, because it's hard to eat 18 almonds.
Of course.
It's hard
Gotta
because
stop
I like
yourself.
almonds, and you get to the end of the bag and you're like,
Damn, I want more. Yep.
damn, I kind of want more almonds.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just reach over here and grab this extra bag.
And then before you,
And
Before you know it,
and
you
it's-
done ate 6 bags of almonds.
That's like me and weed. It's like, yo, I could have like a gallon of weed, and I'm like, yo,
gallon
so-
of weed.
no, like something could
That's a
happen.
lot of
Like
weed.
something could happen. Like my house could burn down. Somebody could steal this shit. Like something could happen here. So I gotta smoke it before it's gone. Like, and the next thing you know, it's all gone.
right,
It's
right.
like, damn.
Sit through the food. Yep.
I'm like,
I'm out of
damn.
weed again.
I should have rolled a skinnier blunt the first time, and then I would have had one now. I
Same
see where
concept,
he
right? Same
no,
concept. I get it.
but I see where Daryl's coming from. It's like, yo, I have this bag. All right, cool. But damn,
What's the like?
So
What's
hungry.
like the mental trick to teach yourself moderation? Like I try not to eat until I'm full anymore, and that
Right.
really helps.
Yeah.
Like I kind of just eat until like the,
I think you got to distract yourself too, and you got to know when to get yourself away from the table. So whether that's you finish your almonds and then chew a piece of gum, right? Or you finish your almonds and you drink water, you just get up and walk away. Things like just getting away from that eating environment and finding where it's coming from. Sometimes it's boredom too. Usually sets you up for success as well.
I also stopped eating in my car,
That's a killer, yeah.
which was like huge because I'm always in my car,
Right,
so I'm like,
that's your environment.
let me
right,
get
yeah,
all these
yep.
snacks because you never know.
Yep.
If I'm driving the Uber, I might get hungry. I
Right.
don't want to have to stop because then I might miss a call, and before you got like a bag of fucking.
you're getting the shakes.
So
No, but it's like cigarettes though. Like when I stopped smoking cigarettes, I had to relearn certain things. I'm like, all right, when I'm in this environment, damn, every time I'm in this environment, I was smoking in this environment. So it's those kind of things, like he was saying, that you have to re-teach yourself, and that's real tough to
Very hard.
unlearn something
hard, yep.
and then to relearn it again.
what type of advice do you have? Like, I'm now like I'm coming down, and so I'm down about 15 pounds
Awesome.
in the last like
Congrats.
couple months.
That's great though.
Maybe
Yeah.
about 10 from the first of the year.
Awesome.
So I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, but I'm also getting stronger. But I don't want to. I want to be able to maintain that strength
Okay.
while I'm losing the
While you're
weight.
cutting
Like,
down, right? For sure.
like I pulled a 375 deadlift the other day,
Nice.
and I'm like, am I going to be able to do this
Do
at
that
220?
20 pounds right
Yeah.
later. Yeah, for sure. Yep.
Because every deadlift is a lot about like the way you're moving.
Of course, right.
You know
Full
what I'm
body,
saying? So
yeah, true.
like, is it just the workout design, or should I just expect to lose like 20% of my strength as I come down, and I just have to find a way to be okay with that?
Yeah, I think. I mean, if your programming is pretty on point, and you're really crushing the compound lifts and giving yourself appropriate deloads every, when your body needs it, and a deload basically you throw in if you train hard and just the weights just start to feel heavier than they normally do. You throw a deload weekend so you don't get that overtraining. But I mean, myself with experience, whenever I cut down for bodybuilding shows, you lose a little bit of strength. So you're going to lose it a little bit, but it doesn't mean that once you get to that body fat or that weight at 220 that you can't get stronger at that 220 as time progresses on if your training's on point. So long-term answer, no, you should be actually able to get back to that strength or maintain most of it as you cut down. But it's kind of inevitable as you're losing weight. You know, weight equals power. You know, so,
Right.
with all your lifts.
Yeah, that's why all these guys are huge. These world's strongest men guys.
400 pounds.
Fucking 400 pounds.
Crazy big. Yep, exactly. Yep, they need that weight. Yeah, for sure.
I was gonna ask too, like for a layman, somebody now starting, where would you say would be the first zone for them to start? Like, would it be upper body, core, their legs?
Yeah.
Like, which body part or which zone do you think somebody should focus on first?
Yep. So a little dependent on the person, but definitely beginning for most people. I think I get a lot of people. They come in like, oh, I want to work core. But if your body fat's a little bit higher, you can work core, but it's not going to show as much. I think working something like legs gives you the most bang for your buck because when you do squats or deadlifts, just as an example, it doesn't just work your legs; your whole body is working, right? So, but exercise selection-wise, I mean, legs are going to burn the most body fat. They're going to have the most hormonal effect in terms of increasing testosterone, helping you burn more body fat. So that'd be the starting point. Then you're pulling size of your rows and your bench press and shoulder press, and then I would put core kind of after that. It has its place, but I think as your body fat gets lower, that's when you should incorporate more core work because then you'll actually see, what's going on under there.
So basically, you would say start with legs, upper body, then core.
You got it.
If you're now starting.
Correct. In the beginning.
Okay.
Yep, absolutely, definitely. You get a lot of bang for your buck that way, I think.
So more full body workouts than.
I like full body, to be honest with you. I know a lot of people are kind of they like their broad splits or whatever, but I've recently become a big fan of putting in like squats and bench press in the same day and just.
That's the way I prefer. That's the way I prefer to work out. I don't want to just do one section. I just do it all in one day, and I just keep them short.
Yep, exactly.
So that way I can do it on a more consistent basis.
I think a lot of the research is showing now that frequency stimulation throughout the week, how many times you can stimulate the muscle, actually gives you better growth than destroying it in your chest on Monday, rather than you do a little bit of chest Monday, a little chest Wednesday, a little chest Friday. As an example.
So if I'm going into the gym now. I've been doing a lot more. I call it cardio lift.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Lots of reps.
Sure.
Shorter rest.
Definitely.
A lot of supersets.
Yep. Absolutely.
Just to kind of keep my heart rate up.
Beautiful. Yep. You'll get fit doing that. Yeah, definitely.
If I had to just like the 5 exercises, I got time to do 5 exercises and 30 minutes of cardio.
Yep.
What would you suggest they would be?
My 5 for 30 minutes. So a circuit that I've been doing recently, it's been kicking my ass, has been a 30-minute workout. You do 10 repetitions for every exercise, and basically the 10 reps takes you about 20 seconds to do, and then you get 40 seconds of rest. So basically every time the clock hits a new minute, you're doing a new exercise. So it would go leg, push, pull. So you'd go squat, bench press, lat pull down, deadlift, incline bench press, back to squat, bench press, lat pull down, deadlift, incline bench. You cycle through that 6 rounds, and that's going to give you a 30-minute circuit. 300 reps later of all the compound lifts, you're going to be smoked. So, and keeping that, really watching the clock and keeping that 40-second rest is a lot harder than people think because it kills your conditioning and your heart rate long term.
Right.
Yeah. In a good way.
Would it be okay to do those exercises one at a time? Like if you're in a busy gym, you can't really rotate.
Fair enough. Yeah. So I have my own gym, so I can kind of block it off and do that own thing. So you might have to just then probably do your sets of squats real quick on an interval, and then go over to the next circuit and kind of do that because obviously big box gym it's tough to get on multiple pieces of equipment.
And I know you were saying that you do have your own gym, and you was just talking about squats, and Daryl did refer to it earlier about how people could get their asses from you.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Like, so rather than people having to go through those surgical ass shots.
Yeah.
And what Daryl was saying too off mic was those ass shots are basically the new silicone boobs.
Crazy. Yeah.
Right. So they're the new boob jobs.
Yep.
So with your gym, you have an actual machine to help out with that outside of just doing squats.
You got it.
And especially people now working out their legs. It's like, all right, you know what? You're not working out. You're working your legs. There's squats, but you have something for them.
Exactly. Right. Yeah.
Say it for the people in the back. Ladies in the back.
Yeah.
Do the squats.
No.
Do the fucking squats.
No. The ladies in the back come to the front. The guys that are in the front go to the back.
It don't even matter. For those people who think that they like I want to get a fatter ass. Okay, you got to do heavy squats.
Right.
I don't want to do heavy. Like, do the fucking squats.
Right.
You got to put in the work to see the results. Like,
we all know it, but it's just a matter of actually taking the action to do it, right?
Yeah. But the machine that you have, how does that actually work?
Yeah, so it's crazy. So it's called the Booty Builder. So I got it from out of this country. So they shipped it over from Europe over here. So there's a one in New York, one in Florida, I think one in California as well. There's not many in the U.S., but definitely the only one in Rhode Island, Massachusetts, and Connecticut. So it's basically a hip thrust machine that you can load up the weight. So if you've ever used a hip thrust with a barbell in the gym, it's kind of awkward to set up. It's hard to set up. You got to put the bar and the pad, and this one's all built for you.
I've seen guys do it on videos. It's like, what the fuck you doing?
Yeah,
guy?
it just doesn't look right.
It's good for the hips, man. If it'll grow your ass, it's good for your hips.
Opens it all up.
Yeah, but it's the people that I've seen do it online. They just look real funny. Like, the fuck you doing, guy?
That's not a flattering exercise.
No, it really is.
Even for the women, it's just like, all right.
So this machine, it looks flattering, and I mean, the second you do it, the first rep, you're like, oh, that's right in my ass. Like, you feel it where it's supposed to be. So gets the job done, and it just makes it so much easier to set up, and you can load it up with plates, bands, and the girls fucking love it there. So
the funny thing I was thinking about in my head too is about like with Harvey Weinstein getting this consultant, this jail consultant. I was thinking about that movie Get Hard, and then I'm like, damn. When he started talking about the ass machine, I'm like, damn, I hope he's not going for this machine. I'm like, because this is the last thing you want to do before going to prison. like, unless it's the first thing that you want to do when you go to prison.
You never know.
You never know.
Yeah, you never know. But either way.
So, when you opened the gym, was that your goal? Is just that to really have the female client as opposed to like the
to be honest,
the lug nuts?
Yeah, not really. When I first started out, I was
just like, you have money, come work out.
Yeah, and it just happened with, and this is why Instagram has been such a powerful marketing tool for me. I started getting a couple female clients, and then you post on your story, they repost it, they tell their friends, and then 90% of my clientele is mostly females. It just kind of happened that way. It wasn't like I was trying to target to them, but I ran with it, and it's worked out really well since then. So,
hey, them money's green.
Word.
Facts.
It's a good gym if you get an opportunity. You're in the Rhode Island area. Go work out with the homie Aaron Day. Tell them where we can find you.
All Day Physique. So it's 607 Smithfield Ave. It's on the Lincoln Pawtucket line. It's in the plaza with the CVS. Or you can follow me on Instagram at All Day Physique as well.
All right.
Yeah.
What's up next for you? Any new shows coming up? Or
we'll see. I'd like to do potentially powerlifting later in the year, and then maybe bodybuilding after that. So right now I'm following a pretty strict training protocol for the next 32 weeks or so. So it's if all goes well, I should do
he
some.
Said 32
weeks.
God
Yeah.
damn.
Yeah, I programmed pretty far out, but
damn.
Looking forward to it all, and if all goes well.
You ever had to punch somebody in the chest?
Punch someone in the chest?
Yeah, death square in the chest.
No, why?
No, just wondering. No, it's just one of those things I've always wanted to ask like a bodybuilder.
I'll put it in the program.
Like just punch somebody dead in their chest. Just like for shits and not for shits and giggles.
He's not juicing.
I'll try it on you.
Nah, because I remember when Snap. Remember back? Were you there?
Yeah.
At Fox Point at the Boys and Girls Club. One dude was like, "Yo, you ain't that tough. You ain't that tough." Well, God, punch me in my chest. I'm like, yo, what the fuck is he doing? And then he punched him in the chest, and this dude regretted asking for that shit. He's like, I never knew if anybody asked, like, motherfucker, you ain't that tough.
If I do, I'll let you know, though.
Yeah, all right. Yeah.
Well, shit, man, that's, we shamelessly self-promoted.
It's not shamelessly.
Who are your top 5 favorite Aarons?
What do you mean? Oh, wow.
Do you have a top 5 list of Aarons?
Aaron Rodriguez, Aaron Carter.
Aaron Carter?
Yeah.
Whoa, wow.
So only two I can think of.
How old are you?
Whoa.
I was born in the 90s.
Okay.
So wait.
Growing up.
All right, let me help you.
You said Aaron Carter.
There's Aaron Judge. Aaron Gordon, the slam dunk guy, the guy that got robbed twice. There's Aaron Rodgers. Damn. How many Aaron?
See, A-Rod.
See, it's harder than you think.
No,
I said A-Rod. That was the first one.
He said A-Rod. You didn't even say A-Rod.
I don't want to say A-Rod.
A-Rod, the lost member of Menudo.
Yeah, he's that other Yankee
him, Ricky
guy.
Martin, and Mike Piazza. Walked into a bar.
Oh boy, beat Incaviglia. No,
were you athletic in school? Did you play like a lot of sports?
I played baseball and golf growing up. Yeah, so not too much to be honest. I really focused on it more kind of after the brain surgery, which was my first year of college. So,
yeah. Nice. Well, shit, man, we appreciate you coming on the show. You're more than welcome to stay as we get into the rest of the day.
Cool. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thanks for coming on. Make sure you guys check them out.
Yes.
All Day Physique on the Instagram and the Snapchats and the Facebook.
Aaron Day.
Aaron Day. Thank you for coming on the show,
man.
And it's D-A-Y, right?
D-A-Y,
It's not fancy spelling.
No,
that's your real name, right?
It is my real name. I think it was spelled D-E-I in the Italian ancestors, but...
Wait, matter of fact, you're not related to Mike Day, are you?
Mike Day, I don't think so.
Mike Day, the actor?
No, a sound guy here in Rhode Island.
Oh, Mike Day, the sound guy.
Yeah, no, that's my dude. I know him from the Black Rat. Either way.
Yeah, it's my cousin.
Where? Yeah, all days are related. Huh? So, how's Wednesday doing?
Yeah, right.
Wow.
He went there.
He's a dad.
Yeah,
He's a
yeah.
dad. He hits you with the dad jokes all the time.
3 kids deep. 3 kids deep.
Awesome. Thank
You
you
gonna
guys.
stick around?
I gotta get going, unfortunately. Yeah, I
All
appreciate
right.
it. Thank you guys.
Appreciate
for
you
coming
coming
out.
on the show, man.
Thanks once again, my
Appreciate
man.
you.
Try some tracks in this as well. Appreciate
All
it.
right.
Thank you
All
so much.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, man.
We'll see you out. Just walk down the stairs on your way.
Okay.
Out.
All right,
Yeah,
thanks,
cool.
guys.
Thank you very much.
Very soon. It's awesome.
Now you want to switch to the other mic?
All right.
Yeah,
We're
we're
on a
gonna
big seat.
get him in a big seat so you can actually see him now.
Thanks, guys.
Matter of fact,
Thanks for coming through. Also, Aaron's lady. She's not single, ladies.
no.
Still appreciate that.
Nah, he's
Not
well
single.
spoken.
Keep
for.
the thirst down, ladies. Keep the thirst down.
Yeah.
Water, I think.
Oh yeah.
Water. Oh damn, he got the kettle.
Seriously.
Yo, for real.
Bye, guys. Thanks so much.
Take
All right,
it
thanks.
easy. All right. Hey, now we still here, man. We still here.
Oh yeah.
Aaron Day in the building.
Oh.
All Day Physique. Go fucks with him, man. Like he does his thing. I did a little workout with him at the time. It just wasn't fitting my my financial book. But if you got the dough to go see him, man, go do it. If you're serious about your health, I mean, I'm able to do a lot of it on my own, but I still might go because I've been interested in the powerlifting for a while.
You ain't trying to get that ass though.
I was thinking about it, man. I was thinking about it.
Boy.
You know what I'm saying? I want to have the bubble.
That was a joke.
I want to have the bubble for the suit
Oh boy.
to match the abs. To match the abs.
I know. Oh boy. No, please don't.
Hey, so we're right now. We're at the point where we got to get into this.
Yeah, we got a couple of things
yeah,
that
we
we got to
gotta get
hurry
into
and
this.
mosey through.
We gotta mosey into these things. Yo, dog, you gotta come closer, man, so we can fit you up in the thing.
Okay, hold on.
We still rocking and rolling. Yo, don't fall. Don't fall.
Yeah, talking about yoga and falling. Fuck that yoga shit.
Fuck that yoga shit. Hey,
No, I'm not trying to.
so now
fall.
we're gonna get into the book, man. We had the first book of the month over here, the Saturday Conversation Book Club. Damn, where'd you go, dog? You
No, I'm right here. No, it's the words that are blocking me off.
Get these words out of here, dog.
Yeah, don't worry about
Anyway,
that. No, I'm right.
Octavia Butler,
Mm-hmm.
our first book, Kindred.
Mm-hmm.
It was our first book of the month. It was a dope read. Like I said in the beginning of the month, that it was a book that my aunt referred me to
Will.
when I was in high school. Will's in the house.
Yes, indeed.
She referred me to this book when I was in high school, and I read it, and I fell in love with it. Octavia Butler is a black sci-fi author, and at the time I was heavy.
African American, my
I was
brother.
heavy.
African American.
Heavy into the sci-fi. The quick synopsis of the book, for those of you who read it or didn't read it, basically what
Still
it is.
interested in reading.
Still
it?
interested in reading it is a young lady in the book. She's a writer, and her and her husband are basically the short version is that she gets pulled in to the past to deal with her kin, if you will, or her kindred spirits back in the antebellum South, and she is basically getting pulled back by the other main character in the story, Rufus. Every time he decides he wants to almost die, she has to come through and save this little motherfucker's life.
Some of it wasn't of his own choice, though.
Some of it was not, but most of it was just his like
Some of his bad choices.
some of his bad choices. Oh shit, Will's here with the beer list.
I'll go with this one. I'll go with the number 9.
I'm good. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, my man.
Nah, I'm good to go.
You know you love this trick.
Man, ain't that fucking weird island shit.
Open it with my teeth.
Yeah, he's a savage.
Yeah.
Judge, go ahead, Will, judge him.
I'm not judging.
Judge him.
I just
I-
know the fortune I've spent on dental work. I cringe for every dentist I've ever
Like
been
he don't need his teeth, man. Obviously.
Putting their kids through college.
Got 'em forever.
Putting his kids through a university, fucking college.
But so there's a lot of interesting things happening in this book, man. What did you think of the book? I mean, I've already read it, so let me defer to you as a person who hasn't read
so
it.
you went through the regular book. I did a combination of the audiobook and the graphic novel. Now, the thing that I realized with the graphic novel is that it was less on descriptions and more on the visuals, and there was a lot of things that were missing from the graphic novel that wasn't on the audiobook. Overall, I'm heavy into the science fiction game. Well, not really science fiction game, but like I like a lot of science fiction and science fiction thought. With this one, it was weird because it had me intrigued because I was waiting for the twist. There had to be a twist somewhere. It was gonna turn. It was gonna make a turn. So I was just waiting for the turn, and it wasn't a quick instant turn. It was a slow turn. So it was like, rather than taking a hard left, it took a long looping left. And it was very interesting seeing the dynamic of somebody from her time, which was the 70s, going back to the antebellum South, and the mentality that a lot of people had. And even when it was the South, it was just Maryland that they went.
Right.
So it wasn't like the deep South, like, Mississippi or some shit, or Louisiana. But, and it's, overall, it was very intriguing, and it had me hooked. Even just listening to the story via the audiobook. And again, the graphic novel was good, but it wasn't as fulfilling as the audiobook was. So, I don't know if we're going to rate it.
Yeah, if you want to rate it, rate it.
Rate it? Okay, so in regards to captivating and keeping me intrigued, and where I could stop the audiobook and then start to listen like 2 or 3 days later, I would give it a solid, out of 10, I would give it a solid 8.5. Right? Because there were some parts where it's like, all right, it just seemed like I was just listening to a story, but that was the ease of it all. It was just like, okay, all right, cool. But not knowing like how some of these things had so much deeper meaning than what it really was. So overall, well, listening factor, the author, she was good. Not the author, the lady that was reading it, she was good. I played it at 1.35 speed, so it was playing a little bit quicker. That, listening to it, I'll give it about an 8.5. She had a pleasant voice. Even when she tried to do some of the accents, it was a little off, but it is what it is.
Well, she's trying to interpret.
Yeah. So I that's
but
why I gave it a high
you enjoyed the story though.
Overall, the story, even though like for me, I know it was him, and anytime he was in danger of losing his life, he would call her to his time. But then for her to get back to her time, her life had to be in danger for her to get back to her time. So that dynamic was very weird, and I was like, what's causing this? Is it something that they ate? Is it like somebody's a switch? Like I was thinking somebody diabolical or...
Oh, right.
So that was the science fiction turn that I was waiting for that didn't really happen.
Like somebody was on the controls, kind of
controlling them.
Trying to control it. My thought always when reading this book is like, why should we wait so long? You know what I'm saying? Like, I get it. You don't necessarily want to put your life on the line because then you have to take that chance every time. But like, I feel like I would have like tried to run every time I wanted to go home. Like I wouldn't have stayed there for.
Well, the thing was too is that it was kind of like the Back to the Future thing, and that was sticking with me. The whole Back to the Future mentality of if he dies, then basically I could die too because he was her great grandfather, or whoever he was.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So it was if she had to make sure that he ended up with her great grandmother. So to make sure, but she didn't know how they were going to get together. So that was a reason I could see why she didn't do it, because she had to make sure.
I get why she didn't kill him after a while and just let him die, because you know what I mean. Like I get that part, but like she was like staying much longer than I thought she would. I'd be like, all right, cool, you safe now. I'm gonna just go jump off this building real quick, and then.
Yeah, but you see, that's the thing, though.
But I thought it was interesting that she had to actually have the real fear, because it was the one time where she was getting whipped,
and she didn't have the fear.
She didn't have the fear because she knew it was just a punishment, and so she didn't go back. But the first time she got whipped, she really thought she was about to die, and she went back. So I think like there was a lot of interesting little twists like that. I also thought it was cool, like different for a book being written in the 70s to showcase an interracial couple as the main character, like her and her husband in the 70s.
What's her husband's name again?
Kevin.
Yeah.
And
Kevin?
And then I was like, damn, I was very sure the first time I read the book that he was there for 5 years without her.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That he either would have just acclimated himself or had like a new chick. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, this chick's not coming back for me unless this little motherfucker tries to kill herself again. I can't wait on that. Or he didn't try to kill him. You know what I'm saying? Like, how she gets there.
Well,
why wouldn't you like?
Well, this is the thing too, is that at first they weren't really sure on how you can be called and how you can be sent back. So they weren't really sure with that. And then even with that, are you really gonna try to kill yourself with the potential?
No. What I'm saying is
the actual hard facts that you're gonna get back.
But by the time that he was there by himself, when she left him, they knew how they got there. They got there every time that Rufus, the main character, when his life was in danger, he would call for her telepathically, and she would go there. So as her husband, this chick my wife just disappeared. She's back at the house, and you know how to get her back to the antebellum South would be to put this dude's life in danger. Why the fuck he didn't just
Kevin?
Why didn't Kevin just put the screws to Rufus real quick and make Rufus think that he was gonna kill him, and then boom, his wife would be right back.
Well, see, and then this is the thing too. What if he was actually successful in killing him? Then
no. He
wouldn't have got married to Alice, and then
you don't want to kill him. You just want him to think that he's gonna die, like when he was in the fight with Isaac, the slave kid, and the kid was beating the brakes off him, and he thought he was gonna die.
It's similar to when she was getting whipped the first time. She had that fear in her heart. The second time, she was like, well, they're not going to kill me. They're just trying to teach me a lesson. So, or teach others a lesson as well. So with that, because Rufus knew the relationship between Kevin and homegirl, what was her name again? I'm mad I forgot.
Yeah, man, you didn't read the book.
No.
Did you read the book, man?
No, this is the thing with some stories. I forget people's names because I watch a lot of TV and I forget shit.
Iron Monkey didn't read the book, y'all.
No, I listened to the audiobook. Again, I listened to the audiobook.
Dana is the main character in the book, man.
Dana? Okay, so with Dana, he knew that, they had a relationship. And why would Kevin just flip on him like that?
Because he just watched his wife disappear and his wife to come back. And you just had a gun trained on him. So, like, now I got to fuck you up a bunch. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe he didn't know how she was going to come back and if that would have affected her too. You know what I'm saying? Like, he goes and beats the brakes off this kid to try to get his wife back, but he knows that this dude is not going to kill me because then he's never going to get back to his wife. Yeah. So then he doesn't summon her, she doesn't come back.
And then he dies.
And then, so now he kills Kevin, or Kevin bounces, and then she comes back and he takes it out on her. I don't know. I thought it was interesting because every time she went back, it was like years had passed. Too, like it was a weird dynamic in time.
Yeah,
because you had.
I was trying to figure that out too.
You had 8 days is like 5 years,
or like 3 hours.
3 hours was like
8 months.
Like 8 months, and a couple of days was only like a few minutes. So it was really interesting the way they played with time. I thought in this book, because you don't have that. And I don't know. I really enjoyed the read. You know what I mean? Like I read the book in about 3 days once I sat down with it. You know what I mean? I was like skimming through it because I've read it before, and so it wasn't like a new book for me. So it was kind of like at first I was like, oh, I'll just catch up on it. But then I got right back into the story. It was like the first time I read it again. And I read it. I read the epilogue. I read the notes. You know what I'm saying? I read all the extra stuff that you generally don't read when you get a book. So, very, very cool book. Kindred by Octavia Butler.
See, and even before we finish the wrap-up here, the other part about the book that I love was the interaction between the other slaves and Dana.
Right.
Because with the other slaves, the people in the cookhouse, then the people in the fields, and then the overseer, and how some of these people came into play in their interactions with each other. That was the most meaningful part for me. Rufus, I saw what she was trying to accomplish with Rufus and trying to make him less ruthless and try to make him less of his father. But the other thing that threw me off was Rufus at the end was only 25 years old. And it seemed like he was just way older than that. Because even when, what was it, malaria? What was
Right, yeah.
What do they call it? Egg flu?
Some shit.
Egg virus? Either way, ague. Ague is what it was. But, yeah, just with that, I thought he was like in his 40s or 50s at that time. I'm like, oh, jeez. He's only 25.
Right. But, I mean, people didn't live long. I mean, he didn't die of natural causes, though. You know what I mean? It's not like he did, but he didn't.
He almost died of the ague, though.
Right. But, I mean, back then, medicine was fucking super shitty back then. So it's like, you know, you got to figure that out, too.
I was thinking about that, too. Like, how would she change some of the future with introducing aspirin and all these other things to them?
Right.
So that's the part that I was waiting to see. But apparently with her books, there's a bits and pieces of her previous books that feed into the next book. Because even with the Powers of Sorrows, or the
Parable?
Parables, yep. Her other book, I guess supposedly it had some elements of that kind of feeds into this book and vice versa. But with her, you have to read the series, not just the one book. So this is a nice introduction to her series.
Yeah,
and her as an author overall.
It raised a lot of interesting questions for me too, and my mom made some notes because she's also read the book a few times.
Okay.
And one of the interesting questions she had, and I had it on my mind as well, is like, oh, would you even want this shit to happen? Like, are you about that time travel life? Like, if you could go back in time and meet your ancestors from the 1800s, would you even want to do it?
Pre-slave ships?
Well, how far back would you want to go? You know what I'm saying? Like,
or do you even have a decision on how far back you go?
Do you have a decision? But if you did, like, how far back would you go if you would go back?
Well, number one, Dana didn't have the decision, but if I had the decision, damn, I don't think I want to. Really and truly.
Nah?
No, because it's like, yeah, it's not hot tub time machine where I could go back and I'll start investing in Apple and Google and all this shit, and then all of a sudden, when I come back, I'm gonna be rich. Like,
you can't make any changes to the time travel. You just get to go back and like
try to save somebody.
Not even. You just like if you could go.
Shit, damn, that's a tough.
If you could just go back and like have a drink with your dad in the 60s. You know what I'm saying? Like and like
when my dad's in his 20s.
Yeah, like chop it up with him.
Play the wingman to my father.
Yeah, like little shit like that. Like, would you go back, or would you go back further to like meet your grandfather? Like, I never met my grandfather. You know what I'm saying? So like, I would think about like, yo, if I could go back to any time, I would go back to a point where I could meet the people that I hear about, that I've never got an opportunity to meet. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think it would be cool. Like, I never met my grandfather, so maybe like to go sit in a bar and have a drink with this dude who I know is eventually going to have my dad. You know what I'm saying? And just kind of get, like, because I hear stories about the type of dude he was, but I never witnessed that firsthand, even from a grandparent perspective. You know what I mean?
Okay, I can see that.
So, like, I think I would use it in that way.
All right.
Like, I wouldn't use it, like, to go back and, like, fucking bet on the, 77 World Series and fucking...
Yeah,
you know, there's always that aspect, right? Like if you go back and you can set your family up for life by investing in IBM or getting on the ground floor of Apple. Sitting in the room with Steve Jobs early on and being like, "Yo,
go to California, looking for
go
this
to
guy.
California and find him and like befriend him."
Yeah.
So you get to be on that group in the garage in the beginning.
Be like, yo, I know he used to like to get weed from this one dude, so if I get there 5 minutes before this dude, I could be his weed guy.
You read the autobiography of Steve Jobs and you go back to when he was just in the garage and, you know, the first 7 people that had stock in Apple, and then a bunch of people gave their stock back, and you'd be like, nah, B, I'm going to keep mine.
I believe in you.
I believe in you. You know what I'm saying? You're going to be the one.
Yeah.
I feel really strongly about this.
Yeah.
And they're like, you know what? You're right.
You know what? You need a black friend like me.
That's it. And
you need a Ben Carson.
And then you're on the cover. You're on the cover of like the computer magazine as like the first black CEO of Apple.
Yo, you know what I'll do too? Come out with a magazine called The Source.
Not even you.
And me on the cover.
And it's not even you. Like you're not even the one who influences it, but you influence your dad. You know what I'm saying? Yo,
I found a rapper called Jay-Z.
You really got to get in on this. This is trust me. Trust me, you want to get in on this. Because your parents always tell you the story about the thing that they passed up, right?
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's that one thing like, yo, I was in the same room with these guys when they first got started.
Yeah.
And, but then I was like, I had to run out because I had to meet your mom.
Yeah, these motherfuckers on some bullshit thinking that they was going to be in a singing group called The Temptations.
Fuck out of
here. The Temptations.
Or your dad, right? Like I used to, me and Bob Marley was cool, or you know what I mean? Like, because your dad's big on the island stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like my dad was training kung fu back in the day. Like one of his instructors used to train with Bruce Lee. He told me like, yo, seriously, like why are you not in these kung fu movies, Pop? You know what I'm saying? Like, and you could be the wingman on the shoulder, like just kind of give him that nudge. Yep. Just give him that nudge, like, no, you got to do this. Trust me. You are not going to regret doing this thing.
I'm going to give you one word, and it's going to be the best investment of your whole life. Plastics. That's all I got to tell you. Plastics? The fuck you talking about plastics, boy? Everything's in paper bag.
Listen,
plastics. And when 2000 comes around, get out of the plastic game.
You're just giving people like little insider trading.
Yeah,
You're giving them little insider trading. And you're like,
but you didn't hear this from me though.
Listen, I know a guy, and he's a really reliable source. And what he was telling me is that there's a small company called IBM. Yo, he was like, invest in it. And right now, it's only like $1. Oh, $1. That's a lot of money. Listen, I happen to have about $500 on me.
500? Where you get all that money?
Listen. Don't ask a lot of questions. What I'm saying is,
nigga, you about to get robbed.
I'm gonna give it to you.
Give it to me.
And you're gonna invest.
Trying to get me robbed?
I'm just trying to get you to invest. You invest in IBM. Trust me, my source is airtight.
500. Take that money and go buy me some weed.
Oh man, how tragic would that story be? You time travel back and you get your pops to or your moms. You're like you meet her and you're like, she's like, what do you do? And you're like, oh, I'm in stocks. And she's like, oh, that's fancy. And you're like, yeah. I'm gonna give you the stock of the century right now. This new stock. It's called IBM, and she just thinks you're crazy. And you give her the money, and you're like, just go do it. Just trust me. I'm already in. You get into. I want us to be in together. And she's like, oh, that's crazy. And she takes your money and buys a purse with it. And then you go back into the future, and you're still broke because you gave your mom. You gave the younger version of your mom or the younger version of your pops. You gave them the money and the investment and the knowledge, and they went and got weed with it or went to the bar.
They had to get that new platform shoes.
And they got the new
and that jacket with the fine Corinthian leather.
They took all their friends to the Soul Train taping.
Yo, I'm saying.
And you come back and you're still the same dude because you can't fuck with the future, dog. You can't go back and change the past.
Nah, motherfucker.
It is what it is. But if you could, I think that I would do it.
We're gonna take this trip out to the show called Solid Gold, and we gonna be solid gold dancers. Like, yo, ma, that's not the move, ma. Like the fuck, like, yo,
mom,
yo.
She's like, why you calling me mom?
Yeah, why you keep calling me mom?
My bad.
Yeah, Gladys. Like, come on, man.
You would have to go to like your more sensible grandparents.
Yeah, be like, nah, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna save this money. Fuck that gamble. Be like, yo, go back in time. Be like, yo, grandma, anybody ever give you money back in the day? Like, you ever come up?
You ever come up? Anybody ever tell you to invest in some stuff?
I still got that money in the jar back there. Thanks for reminding me.
You go back.
What the fuck? The money's still there?
You come back to the future and sit, and you're sitting with your grandmother. She tells you that time. You know, I met a guy at a bar one time, and he told me to invest in IBM, and I thought he was crazy. He even gave me the $500. I still got it. I still got it in the coffee can in the kitchen.
No!
Shit, I thought I was going to pay a bill with that shit.
Granny, no!
It was the 70s. I needed the money.
Shit.
I paid my rent with that $500.
Shit. That $2 gas? Shit, that's a lot of motherfucking money for my car.
Shit, I gassed my car for 4 years.
Shit.
You're like
$2 a gallon.
You're like, fuck.
It car only holds
Speaking
$2.
of time travel, I heard they're trying to bring back Quantum Leap. One of my favorite shows of all time. Scott Bakula.
Yo, and I actually wanted to say because Mark Pags.
Oh, yeah.
Right, he read the book, and he actually noticed, too, and kind of referencing with Kendrick, he noticed that movie that they're coming out with, Antebellum, is similar to Kendrick, but the thing is that they don't have any write-up on Antebellum. Like, when you look at the description, it's very vague. It's basically the same thing.
Nah, I don't know, man. The trailer seems like more...
It has other elements like the airplane when they see the airplane.
Yeah, it seems more.
But it
seems more like material. The Ring and shit. It might be. I mean, it's probably some of the same source material, but like it's not. No, like, based on the trailer that I saw, I didn't. My brain couldn't connect it to the book. It was like too paranormal.
Well, that too, and that's the making it more modern science fiction, because what happens is she comes from modern day and then she ends up in slavery times.
Yeah.
So, like, she finds herself in the middle of a cotton field, like, yo, what the fuck? Like,
and I think that from just based on the trailer, that would be the only comparison that I would make to it. The rest of it seemed like very, like, ghosts and goblins, not ghosts and goblins, but, like, very paranormal, like.
Well, adding that element to it to kind of separate it and distance itself to say, well, no, it's not Kindred, so we don't have to pay for licensing. What are you talking about?
I guess. I don't know. I mean, I'm probably still going to go see it.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, shout out to the not so silent producer in the building. She's saying that the universe will balance itself out even if we go back and change it. We make a change. We make a small change by convincing our younger parents to invest in Apple, and then some other shit happens.
Oh no,
they don't meet.
Well, the family the family would be rich. They just decide to have one kid rather than two.
Right? No, I'm the oldest.
Yeah. Well, that works out for you, but. You know,
or you know,
maybe they did it in a different position and ended up with a girl.
Or you give back in the day younger pops the money and he invests in Apple and then he's like, man, fuck your moms. I'm not fucking with this fucking poor chick no more. I'm gonna go get me.
He's not on that James St. Patrick time, huh?
I got money. I got money now.
On that ghost time, huh?
I got money now. I gotta fuck with a different caliber of chicks. Yo. So he might not even have fucked with your mom if he had Apple stock back in the day. You know what I mean?
Damn. Raquel Welch getting hollered at by my father.
I'm a new station in life. I
got Raquel Welch money, B. Yo, I got Lena Horne money.
Lena Horne money, yeah, like.
Yo, that's like, yo, I don't got Tasha in the hood. Like, come on, man. That's James St. Patrick from Paula. Right? Like, yo, what the fuck with Tasha for when I got motherfucking
got Lena
Beyonce?
Horne.
Yeah, Beyonce.
I got. You know, you take that chance of like the future changing a lot.
Yeah, and you see, that's the thing with Quantum Leap, though, is that Quantum Leap was an ill show, but you never saw the end result, really, of them changing that time. Like, so, like, if they, like, stop like, they went and killed Hitler. Like, yeah, if this is what they do in the new one.
But I always thought Quantum Leap was always, like, I'm pushing this dude in the direction that he needs to go in. Like, he's fucking up. Like, he's supposed to meet.
Oh, yeah. He's supposed to die in this car, and he's not getting in this car.
Yeah.
We need him to die.
We need him to die, or we need him to run into Susie over here at the fucking, camera shop, but he's stuck with Julie over in the broom closet. We need to get him out of the broom closet and over to the camera shop so he can meet.
Wasn't there a time that he didn't complete his mission? I swear there was at least 2 or 3 times.
I don't know. I'd have to go back. I feel like there's a couple times where he didn't. Because Scott Bakula was always the person that needed to
do the pushing.
So he would jump into like,
the
woman, or and then have to get out of that situation. Like, oh man, I can't go to bed with Johnny right now. I'm supposed to meet Billy at 4:00.
Because Billy's supposed to be at the airport to meet his mom's. Like,
yeah,
because Billy is gonna save the president. Like.
Right.
Okay, all right. Yeah, it's kind of roundabout, but I see it. But
I gotta get there.
Quantum Leap is really that ill-ass show.
It was definitely ahead of his time.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely ahead of his time.
Oh, yeah, that was one of my favorite shows by far. And even with Quantum Leap, and today being 29th of February, it's leap year.
It's the leap year, baby.
Yeah.
Happy
Leap year.
5th, 6th, 7th, 8th birthdays to motherfuckers.
Oh no, I had some birthdays for you too.
Oh, word?
Leap year birthdays. Now I ranked them. They have more people, but I probably had like 4 people that I wanted to name. 2 of them I really don't want to name. First person that I don't want to name at number 4 is Sabatos Jr.
Antonio Sabatos from the soap operas?
Yeah, he's a leap year baby. So he's number 4.
Was he like 12?
Nah, I don't know how old he is. But number 3, he's turning 60, is Tony Robbins, the motivational speaker.
Oh, he's a leap year?
Yeah.
That's why that dude's so fucking weird, yo.
Yeah, he's a leap year baby.
60?
Yeah.
Damn.
Now, number 2, I can't remember exactly how old he is, and I didn't want to do the math either, but he should be number 1, but number 1 is number 1 for a reason. But number 2 is a solid dude. Saul Williams, the slam poet.
Saul Williams, okay.
All right, so he's the leap year baby. So number 1, turning 11 years old, well, actually 44.
44, yeah.
Is Ja Rule.
Baby.
He's
Cookie Monster's a leap year baby?
He's a leap year baby, turning 11 today.
Inventor of the Cookie Monster rap. That's I feel like leap year babies are the weirdest people on the planet now. Because, like, the list you just ran off was, like, some of the weirdest dudes.
Yeah, some real odd-thinking guys.
So especially Tony Robbins. That dude is, like, his teeth were magical, back in the day.
Nah, it's something about him that is just mesmerizing.
His intensity is, like...
Yeah.
Like, his eyeballs, like, always, like...
Yeah.
Like, coming out of his head.
Mm-hmm.
And, Ja Rule, I mean...
It's murder. No, but see, out of all of them, like, Saul Williams is the sanest.
Is he, though? I mean, he is a slam poet.
No, well,
slam poets are some weird-ass people, dog.
No, I would say he's the... Well, leap year babies, I would say they're all highly creative. Because, if anything, Tony Robbins, he created his lane.
Yeah, for sure.
And his lane is definitely, like, when you say Tony Robbins and motivational speaker, it's like, oh, shit, him?
Yeah. Everybody knows who Tony Robbins is.
Yeah. He's like the GOAT. He's maybe not the Jordan, but he's
the motivational speaker GOAT.
Yeah.
Dude to have you buying books that you don't even need.
Yeah, he's on the Mount Rushmore. Then there's Sabato Jr.
Yo, he was like the first like heartthrobby type dude that I remember seeing, yo. Like he was trying to take over for Fabio, dog.
What was it?
He was like
Bold and the Beautiful.
One of those fucking weird soap operas, man. He was like the dude.
I only know that because I read it earlier.
Like motherfuckers, he was like John Stamos.
Before John Stamos?
Because John Stamos is like 60 years old now, but like maybe at the same time, maybe they were around at the same time.
Wait. Let's put it like this. After Desi Arnaz, he was the Latino guy.
Yeah.
Because Latino guys kind of
he was like before Mario Lopez.
Yeah. Yeah. He's Mario Lopez's uncle in that vein.
Yeah. Like he was like Antonio Sabato and then like Mario Lopez and the dude that Kelly Ripa's married to, Mark Consuelos.
Mark Consuelos.
Why you do it with the telenovela voice, dog?
Because I can't. Like certain things you can't say without the emphasis. I can't say Mark Consuelos. I have to say
you have to say
Mark Consuelos. Yes, with the hair flip and the whole nine. But yeah.
Sábado Gigante.
Oh, but yeah. Yo,
it's like my favorite show. But anyway.
So like, yeah.
Yo, tonight.
Yes.
First, you got the book.
Oh yeah.
We got the new book for the March.
Oh yeah.
March book club book. DJ Iron Monkey has this book.
So I had 3 choices, and I was still, even to the last second here, still flipping it through my mind.
Vampire in Brooklyn.
Yeah, we could probably do that. A Vampire Grows in Brooklyn. Planet of the Vampires in Brooklyn.
The backstory on the Knicks. Yeah, I'm just trying to guess books.
Okay. All right, yeah, you get some books. All right, so
Patrick Ewing from Superstar to Terrible Shoes. Is that even a real book?
It sounds like it could be by Penguin Books or something. Penguin Publishing. All right. So number 3, I was gonna go with this book just because I was gonna go with Planet of the Apes, but I didn't want to do that because it didn't really fit into everything. Number 2, I was going to go with Things Fall Apart because it kind of feeds into and kind of piggybacks off of kindred, but because March is Women's Month, International Women History Month, Women's Rights.
Okay.
Either way, even though I'm butchering it, I figured I'll go with A Tree Grows in Brooklyn.
A Tree Grows in Brooklyn.
Yeah, I'm from Brooklyn. Plus, it's Women's Month, and it's a story about a woman in Brooklyn. And
A Tree Grows in Brooklyn is the book, man. So
Yes.
Get it on the Amazon borders.
Yes.
Wherever you get your books at. Go to the fucking library.
yes,
Go Audible if you're going to do
Women
the Audible
Pride
book.
Month. I don't know for Women's Pride Month.
I'm interested to know if Patrick Ewing's writing a book now. We call it From Georgetown to Breakaway Sneakers.
Yeah, I'm not Shabba Ranks.
Also tonight, make sure you
Yes.
check us at the Alibi tonight.
Yes, Alibi Cafe.
Our social event, our first social, the Saturday Conversation social event is happening
Meet
at
and
the
greet.
Alibi. Come
Smoke and toke.
down, hang out with us. Nobody can see your face because of the feed.
Because of the thing?
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah, well, you know.
No, you see my face later on tonight. That's why you show up.
Hey, show up to if you.
And if anything, I like my face. not
we
being
kept
seen.
Daoud looking like the dude from
The Smurfs.
what's his name? The dude from Home Improvement that used to look over the fence. Wilson. You could only see his eyeballs and shit.
You got me over here like this. Hey guys.
So if you want to see what the rest of Dawood looks like, come down to the Alibi tonight and party with us, man. We throwing it back 90s, early 2000s. The drinks are great there. The party is going to be good. There's a pool table. We're going to raffle some shit off. So make sure you join us tonight
I was trying to guess some songs that you had.
at the Alibi. I'm going to play all the hits, man. I'm going to play all the hits.
I had 3 of the songs. I know it was going to be too short.
Well, now I got to play some Ja Rule. I didn't know it was his birthday.
Oh, yeah.
Baby.
Nah, don't play that one. Play the one with Vita.
I'm going to
Vita.
play some Ja Rule. My lady's not going to like that shit at all. But
Oh, damn.
But it's the 90s, babe. So it's going to be some 50 Cent. And it's going to be some Ja Rule because you can't have a 90s party and not play those dudes. Just saying. But we're going to play a lot of everything tonight.
Now they can only just see my hands doing that old bad boy.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of Mary J dancing. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be a lot of Mary J dancing.
A lot of Mary J in there too.
We're gonna turn the Alibi into a dancery.
Oh boy. You know, I always hated that song too.
Yeah, what the fuck is a dancery?
I've always hated that.
One
song.
day I'm gonna interview Mary J. Blige and I'm gonna ask her.
It's gonna be hard to get that interview when you're always dissing a B. Like, come on, man.
I never diss Mary. She can't sing, but I never
How's
diss her.
that not a diss, B? Come on.
Those are. Listen, if it's an actual fact,
No, see, her singing is a different style of singing. Her singing is more from the soul and more from the gut and more like pain and experience. So it doesn't have to be polished. It doesn't have to be like indie R.E. type pure or like I don't want to say Alicia Keys because she can't really sing. No. So I'm trying
listen, there's a lot of famous R&B folks that got wild hits, and they can't fucking sing. It just is what it is. I mean,
they're more entertainers.
if I came out with an R&B record right now and it went platinum, motherfuckers would be like, "Yo, how do you get a platinum album? He can't fucking sing." And I'd be like, "You know what? I can't, but I could dance and I'm cute." So that's how I got this shit.
And I got abs. Yeah, and I'm glad you just left it at abs and not abs and ass. with
man,
Aaron Day in there earlier.
Listen, I haven't worked out with Aaron yet, so when I do,
Oh no.
you know what I'm saying, expect the cheeks to be on swole city.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that means you better have your papers in order when the cops pull you over, because you can't go to prison.
Don't worry, my papers is always in order.
Yeah, you better be too legit to
saying?
quit, B.
I'm trying to have the type of body that looks like it was chiseled out of stone.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Abs, chesticles,
Yeah, and you know,
biceps, quads.
I actually have a DJ Iron Monkey soundbite that I could use because it's from American Dad, and he was like, "Oh, DJ Iron Monkey. Oh, look at his abs. Ooh, abs." But I was gonna hold that out on you, and that's why I try to wear big clothes so that way, you know, I kind of.
Oh, we got Dawood in the photo now. We just had to tilt it down a little bit. Yeah. All at the end and shit.
Oh, Wilson. Oh.
We got you. We got him in at the end.
Nah, so like, nah, man.
But yo, make sure you get with us, man. Hey, next Saturday, your boys gonna be in Detroit next week, so we're gonna be on remote. Shout out to the homie Brian Bradley, aka the letter B.
Yeah, you're gonna be interviewing him out in
aka
Trumps with 2 P's,
aka the Trash Robert Ory, aka
the Trash Robert Ory,
aka he's almost